I wanted to do a video about my experience with NAC and Gly-NAC. Um, I started taking them a few months ago, and on and off I would try one or the other to get an experience of what they were like individually. So um, initially, when I started taking them together in equal doses, they made me tired at first, but I noticed a great improvement in um, kind of like what I experience is when standing in one position, like when I'm doing the dishes or anything for a while, and not able to, move my legs, I'm standing still in one place, I start getting heart racing, especially in the evening time. Um, when I'm cooking dinner or um, doing dishes, and it's excruciating. It's tachycardia is what it is, and it's just excruciating. So I found that it feels like really severe anxiety is what it feels like. But when I started using the Gly-NAC, um, I noticed that it helped tremendously. Like it took time. It took a little while, like a couple of weeks. But gradually, I noticed that I was feeling a lot better, and those episodes were a lot more under control. And some of the TBI issues and hormonal anxiety was greatly reduced. The ADHD got better. Um, and even though there were parts of the learning disability did not improve, the ADHD I think can only be improved to a certain extent due to TBI's um, learning disability issues. So I got benefit out of it that was worth taking it, but it wasn't a cure. It didn't make me all better. And I continued to take it over a few months, and I noticed that like I was just starting to feel well for a for a longest time of that time period. I think I felt lots calmer, noticeably calmer, more at ease. Uh, I think the learning disability definitely gives me anxiety because I make mistakes and I get upset over the mistakes I make pretty bad. I mean, it's been most of the majority of my life, so it really upsets me, and mistakes make me feel antagonized. It makes me feel like something's picking on me when it really isn't. It's just me making mistakes, but I want to not make them so badly, and then when I do, it feels kind of like you're being picked on, like something's happening to you and you don't want it to be. So anxiety arises out of that, and then the hormonal menopausal changes have caused lingering anxiety. The tachycardia creates anxiety, and taking the Gly-NAC, I really noticed a big difference. That I was feeling a lot more calm, at ease. Um, I didn't feel the rise and fall of the anxiety anymore. Um, and I was feeling really comfortable. but I was tired, especially in the morning, which I already have issues with feeling tired in the morning due to central apnea. And just for educational purposes, central apnea is a neurologic disorder. It's not an obstructed disorder. So you don't snore when you have central apnea. You you just simply stop breathing, and no CPAP machine can fix that. So you wake up with a lot of carbon dioxide in your blood, and not enough oxygen, and the output of more oxygen, just so people know that oxygen won't fix it either, is carbon dioxide. So if you add oxygen, like getting an oxygen tank, you're going to have you're going to add more carbon dioxide as the output of the oxygen to the carbon dioxide you already have so much of in your blood that you'll kill yourself. You'll die from it. It's a scientific, medical, medically established fact. So oxygen is not beneficial unless or until the carbon dioxide is gotten rid of out of the body, which takes hours and hours. Like sometimes it takes me up to 8 hours before I finally feel somewhat normal. But by then, it's time to go back to sleep again, pretty soon. And you're pretty much living in you know, a toxic blood situation. So it's a terrible thing to have to live with, and that also causes anxiety because you don't feel well, and you want to, but you can't. You wake up feeling exhausted in the morning far more than you did through the day, and you dread going to sleep. You literally fear going to sleep because you know that you're going to wake up more tired, and sleep does not help. So, um, Gly-NAC helped ease a lot of that. But what I noticed over the whole time was that I was gradually becoming more and more tired. So I realized that the Gly-NAC was affecting, made me sleep well. Like I slept without waking or noticing that I was waking. But that might have been some of the problem when you're stopping breathing is you you're not waking, and you need to wake to get your air. But I think it's more than that, because I've read a lot of reviews. It makes people tired, and it makes people have no interest. The NAC, especially, the NAC does it. It makes them have no interest in life, and they just lose interest in everything, and they feel like they need it. Well, because I was taking them in equal doses, but in separate um, capsules, I was able to try them out individually. And they both help the ADHD individually. They both help with the anxiety and the ADHD. Glycine is really helpful for people that have dementia. There's a whole paper on it, a study that was done when the dose is taken equally at 200 milligrams each of NAC and glycine, or of Gly-NAC for I think 400 milligram. Um, they noticed tremendous difference in people that had dementia and I think it was Alzheimer's too. But it very much relaxes the central nervous system. but the central nervous system, in my case, it does fight for my life. Like for the central apnea, it really does help with stimulating the. It does stimulate the fight and flight uh, thing, but what it does is the good part is it stimulates the fight. Because there's actually three parts of, it's not just fight and flight alone, but there's also give up. And my body is so tired from so many years of physical issues that it tends to want to give up. It'll give up before my mind gives up, and my mind will still want to fight, but it can't beat the body. When the body makes up its mind, it needs to be a team effort. So if the body has one type of thing of conclusion, and the mind has the other, it's conflict of interest, and a lot of times the body seems to have the upper hand. So especially if you have issues that of the body that affect the mind. So anyway, in what I was trying to say is I noticed that they both help with the relaxation of the central nervous system, which was good. It felt good, and there was a lot of need for that sort of recuperation. But at the same time, like with the central apnea, it just wasn't giving me enough fight. And in general, not in relation to any physical compromise, I noticed that the Gly-NAC definitely helped with my ability to catch myself before I make mistakes. And I guess the NAC had also, but alone the Gly-NAC was helping, or the glycine was helping with that. That's what I meant to say, the glycine. Glycine was helping with my ability to catch my mistakes before it was too late, and helping me to stay relaxed throughout the day, so that my anxieties of my different physical caused anxieties, hormonal caused anxieties were greatly under control. The NAC helped my mood a great deal, helped me to feel more positive, like less negative thinking, a lot less negative thinking, and helped me with the ADHD, the racing thoughts, the jumping from one thought to another, being able to stay focused on something longer and not leaving one thing going off to another. What neither of them helped was executive functioning for me. The ability to plan my day, to execute what I planned. I still struggle. It's probably a TBI issue. I just cannot seem to put one foot in front of the other. I can't accomplish more than a few things a day. And if by a few things I mean wake up, potty my doggy, feed her, get myself dressed, manage a shower. Showers give me anxiety because I'm slow. There's a strange type of panic attack that happens to me with showers due to certain incidences that have happened in my life around water. Being dropped in the water at 2 years old, or 18 months maybe, clear to the bottom of the ocean floor, which seemed like a long ways to me, but it was only about from my mom's shoulders to the to her feet, which we were standing in the ocean. She was standing in the ocean holding me at neck level, my neck at my neck level, because she was holding me in her arms, and a wave came and knocked me out of her arms because I squirmed when I got afraid, and I fell to the bottom. Then I almost drowned in a pool one time when I dived, and I wanted to go to the bottom, and I wanted to sit and then push myself up in a 10-foot deep pool. And on the way up, like, my chest was literally heaving hard for a while. I was so sure I'm gonna faint. I just knew I was gonna faint from oxygen. I had the ability not to breathe in, despite the severe urge, but I didn't do it. And I thought, I'm gonna faint holding my breath. But I made it to the top, and I swore I never dove anymore. Uh, and then my really brilliant Coast Guard coastie father thought it was smart to take me out into the ocean and at 5 years old and put me in to the, freezing 40-degree cold water ocean, and leave me there in a life jacket until the jellyfish came swarming up around me and just sat there in the boat telling me, hold still, hold still. Um, there was another thing I had. Oh yeah, swimming out in the Pacific Ocean, and at like 4 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and up to my shoulders in the water, and I felt the brush go against my leg, like a soft, thick, smooth brush go against my leg, and I knew it was a shark. So, doggone, man. I had to get all the way back and hope I didn't get chomped on. So, yeah, a lot of things make me anxiety of the water, aside from an assault in my early childhood, a couple of them. So I just, bath related, and I just can't do it. Water is very, even to do the dishes, like, it's water causes me anxiety. So, um, yeah. So this executive functioning, not being able to. So I'm mentioning the triggers because I think they're important when you want to know how well something works for you. Can they work through your triggers? And I'm saying yes, these things can work through the triggers. But my problem became that it seems to accumulate in your system, and I noticed I'd have to take a day off from them, which helped, but a second, more than a day would be like either not enough or too much. So I was inclined to just stay on them. But as time went on, I could tell, like, every single day I was having worse and worse and worse problem getting off of it. And I'm pretty much one of those people that I make my mind up that if something doesn't work for me, I'll go ahead and suffer and learn how to live with the problem. And that's where I am today, because over the past few days, the Gly-NAC has made it so difficult. Um, I know I can reduce it, but from day to day, the line where it works or doesn't work, is not the same day by day, and it's such a fine line, to take just the right amount, and you can't just sit there and take the same dose every single day. When you get it down to that dose, that sweet spot where it's working, or the amount you need to take to make it work, and not cause trouble, it's a sweet spot, and it does not stay the same every single day. So every single day, you would have to be figuring out where that sweet spot is, and you can't. So then you resolve to just like taking half a dose or whatever, and you'll find days where it works and where it doesn't. So you can't manage the sweet spot. And so I was just, okay, fine, just take the dose, take them together, same amount, 200 milligrams each, like like the study said. And I just was getting less and less interested in life. Um, it was making the executive functioning harder, because without motivation, which you really need with executive functioning, it was just very hard. And pretty soon, I was feeling like I don't want to live. There's no joy. I don't want to live. So yeah, NAC does. If you're taking too much of it, it'll kill your joy. It's a kill, a kill joy, a joy kill. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just take it, and that's where I'm at pretty much right now. I'll just take it sometimes. Sometimes. When I start swinging too low on one end, I'll take it. When I start swinging too low on the other end, I'll take it. But normally I don't have a problem with not wanting to live. Like, I don't, unless I'm in an extremely dire situation for an extended period of time, I don't struggle with just not wanting to be here. Like, not suicidal, but just not wanting to be here. Um, Wishing the suffering would end. It's lasting too long. But in this case, I noticed like I just really super did not want to be here anymore, and starting to like have a couple of days or 3 4 days where I'm weepy. I feel like depressed, I guess and and I'm a fighter, and I don't want to feel like that, and I know it was in my control. I just have to stop taking the NAC. um, the glycine is affecting my sleep. The NAC is affecting my mood. It affects it for the better for a time, but I just can't take either one of them at a regular dose for any extended length of time, because the eventuality is I'm too exhausted in the morning from the glycine, and I'm too numb throughout the day from the NAC. And if I don't take something every single day, I have a very difficult time remembering due to the TBIs, memory impairment. I need habits very badly, and they need to be very routine, or I wake up and my routine is completely erased from my brain. I'm just not that person. I can't do that. And I'm saying these things because I think that a lot of people who have TBIs and probably don't realize it's a TBI. Maybe they've had a head injury a long time ago, some kind of thing. Somebody got punched in the head. Um, you know, I've had 2 assaults like that with over 20 blows each to the head. So I know, you know, I'm trying to say is you, the TBI, even if it's just a car accident, had that too. Banged the windshield at 11 years old and broke the windshield with my head. Didn't seem to cause me at the time mental problems, but what it did was it gave me TMJ and a messed up neck and upper spine. So, I didn't think anything of it. concussions, being hit with a ball, like you don't realize how they add up. They don't, you just don't realize that these minor, seemingly minor head head injuries add up, you know. Um, I've had concussions where they make me feel ill and sleepy for a month. I've had concussions that make me feel like super drug tired immediately and then nothing after a few hours. They all have these different um, every concussion is different. It doesn't feel the same every time. Some of them can feel similar sometimes, and others can feel nothing like it at all, and you have no clue. So falling down as a child on hitting your head, your bones are soft, your brain is a lot more injurable, but it's soft, and so you don't notice the injuries right away. Um, and then there's genetic things that can make you more susceptible to TBIs, like if you have a genetic um, intolerance for anesthesia, which I have. You can sustain some damages from anesthesia, especially when you have central apnea. And they keep you breathing and stuff like that, but it's just the wake up when they take everything away and you're on your own. Different things like that can contribute. So these are things that people need to consider when you have TBIs. You can't expect things like NAC and Gly-NAC to fix you the way it's intended. But I'm speaking mostly about how it works overall. I know I'm mentioning these things because I feel like they're things that people need to consider, but in general, Gly-NAC, it does help with the ADHD, and it does help with a panic attack, whether you have it from something like tachycardia or traumatic event or whatever it is caused. It helps with that. The glycine helps with the memory. Um, they both help you to be calm. But I feel like the glycine has too much sedative effect, and the NAC has too much um, effect to promote the mood to become too low. And here come back around, trying to treat these same problems with serotonin reuptake inhibitors that I've tried in the past. They had the same effect, basically. They do the same exact thing that I found Gly-NAC to do. The longer I'm on it, the less effective they were less effective. In kind of the same way, I guess. Eventually the mood was you don't care. And you're sleeping a lot, you're doing nothing, and too much time goes by and you're just not active enough and you're not interested enough. So just having not taken either one of them last night, I feel a lot more motivated. For example, I felt motivated to do this video right upon waking up and feeling better, less tired, and a little clearer. And now I know that as they start wearing out of my system, I'm going to be reverting back to the problems for which I wanted to take them. But now, having gone the journey, knowing, okay, they're not working any better than serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which honestly don't work for my problems. It's not a matter of I have depression. It's a matter of my situation, my physical limitations cause me to be depressed. It's not a chemical problem in my brain causing me to be depressed. It's a situational problem, and if that's remedied, I don't have depression. If I can keep my mind focused and active enough, if I can keep from feeling defeated by my mistakes, which I make, people laugh. My daughter said, "Mom, people make a couple of mistakes or a few mistakes a day. You make hundreds." That's actually the truth. I mean, I can barely cook. Um, I can barely stay on a task. It's it's more a memory impairment than it is ADHD. But it's just, I know people taking these products are looking, they have these issues and they're looking for a solution for them. A lot of them don't even realize that it's things like TBIs, that they're looking to do ADHD, but TBI can cause what looks like ADHD quite badly. So, if you've been diagnosed with ADHD, you better be looking at your life for TBIs from your childhood up. And those falls when you fell off your bike or fell on your back, or you got to add them all up. Any assaults, any near deaths, any consciousnesses, faints where you hit the floor, or just being without oxygen causes a TBI. That's what central apnea does. It causes TBI every single night. And so, and that's if you have obstructed or central apnea. And a lot of people who have central apnea will stop breathing throughout the daytime too. So, it's a trick. We learn to regulate our breathing or hyperventilate to keep ourselves from, like, we'll just start sitting, we'll start feeling like we're super tired, and what it is we've stopped breathing. Then we recognize, oh, I'm not breathing. So you learn to hyperventilate and take deep, long, deep breaths throughout the day. It's something you just learn to do to survive, and you become unconscious that you're doing it anymore. And yeah, so that's my journey with NAC and Gly-NAC. I think it's my preference to have some anxiety and have motivation and not feel so extremely tired in the morning, because it was just getting worse and worse with the tiredness. I tested them, not taking them off and on quite a few times, so I do know for a fact what each one is doing, and that it is that and not something else. So I just prefer, just like, with pain, I have pain, I just prefer not to take NSAIDs that affect my liver, because it got to the point where it was really affecting my liver, and I just have learned to deal with the pain. And as I've learned to deal with it, it has become less. But it took me going down the journey of pain management. I'm not willing to go on addictive things, so that's where that line, that's where that journey ended. So, when NSAIDs couldn't do it, Tylenol and NSAID together couldn't do it, okay, that's where I draw my line. I'm not going further into pain management. And that basically kicks the brain over back, flips the switch back to saying, all right, well, there is no solution to the pain, so then we're just going to ignore, or we're just going to handle it mentally a different way. And so now pain I can tolerate, but and I don't feel it so very bad, but when there is some kind of pain that goes way beyond, you know, way beyond my ability, I pretty much just feel nauseated and hyperventilate because the pain is so excruciating, with cramps that I get from um, potassium intolerance, I think it's hypokalemia, hyperkalemia, where if a person gets too much potassium in there, I don't absorb it well. I can't have bananas, I can't have fruit, can't have vegetables. I'm pretty much on a carb diet now. And these things affect mood when your diet isn't right, when your absorption of things isn't right. Struggling with chronic B12 deficiency because you can't absorb, your metabolism is screwed up, a lot due to the TBIs and neurologic and genetic issues combined. So so yeah, so the brain just kicks over and says we're going to deal with something a different way, and that's where I'm at with the NAC and the glycine, Gly-NAC. I'm just going to learn how to deal with the stress regardless of anything. And I guess, I have to learn to numb myself the same way I've learned to numb it with pain. I have to find how you get the brain to do that with stress. So when I have tachycardia and I feel like, really stressed, I have to just learn how to mentally zone out from it and not let it get the best of me. And I guess if, because you swing from one far end to the other, so you're going to get depression when you get too much stress. When your diet, you can't absorb things and you can't make the right chemicals for your brain. And then when you swing too far the other way from taking something like a supplement to try to cope, or you just can't cope without something anymore, you have to take something sometimes, and that's where I'm at. So taking NAC on an as-needed basis, glycine on an as-needed basis, and not as a daily supplement is my solution to this problem. So that's my experience with Gly-NAC, NAC and glycine. I think the reason why pharma, wants to provide antidepressants for people is because, they can be micromanaged. But I found, because I was wrongly diagnosed on to taking such things, and every time they didn't work for me, they wanted to give me another one, add another one. So you could be taking, multiple ones at a time. And when that doesn't work, they tell you need gabapentin. Basically, that's the same thing I'm going to manually do for myself. shut the signal off. Like, it's what it does. It's anti-seizure medicine. It has no place in psychiatric. It's used for it, but it's actually not a good idea to chemically shut your brain down from signals. I had a lot of trouble with that, and I had an extremely hard time getting off of gabapentin. It makes your brain feel like you're going to have a seizure. It makes you to the point where you just want to be back on it. I had to have a few tries getting off of it and weaning at really, really tiny doses to wean myself down, and it was so impossible. And then after I was down, the symptoms lasted for over a year. and it was miserable. It was miserable. I just constantly wanted to just get back on it to stop the negative symptoms, the withdrawal symptoms. So I don't ever want to go back on something like that again. And it's completely inappropriate for the treatment of depression. Just to shut your brain down is ridiculous. Um, but they like to use their versions of it because they can add additives to it for extended release and all these things that help it to like not dump into your system or not be dysregulated, like help it to be more regulated in your system, so that while you're sleeping it's not sitting there in your blood doing nothing but accumulating as your body is metabolizing it. um, Especially if you have kidney or liver issues, with any medications, any supplements, that's an issue. So metabolic issues are an issue if you're taking medications or supplements. um, Antidepressants completely, like, they slowed my gut system down so bad that I got injuries from impaction because I couldn't go. I couldn't go for like 9 days, and I've heard people going longer. You can die from that, and I didn't want to die. I was tired of trying to remedy myself when I'm stuck. And with a muscle disorder I have, whether metabolic or ALS or Parkinson or myasthenia gravis, they're not clear yet, but definitely those type of symptoms. The muscles have become too weak. I can't I can't handle something causing me problems. I have to keep, even when I was eating solely vegetable or taking fiber and the things they told me to do and laxative, nothing was coming out. It was a muscle problem. I didn't have the muscle ability. So my muscle disorder is also a factor. And if you are having those types of problems, you could have a muscle disorder too and maybe not realize it, because that's one of the first places it showed up for me, is intestinally. And the other stuff was minor. I didn't really realize other symptoms that were muscle disorder until they became more prominent, more affected my life more. So what I'm trying to say is, try to understand that these supplements can help you, but they're not perfect. They don't have a pharmaceutical product in them that regulates them and helps them to be um, either metabolized well or these sorts of things. You don't know what you're missing, what components go with them to make them metabolize well, and people can tell you, but still those things. Okay, so someone told me about taught me about automobile. Say you have a problem with your car stalling, right? So you think, okay, it's either the fuel pump or the fuel line, and you go and address the fuel pump, but it's something in the fuel line. So while the fuel pump is working, it's still not working properly because something's in the fuel line. You fix the fuel line, but then you find out you've got gunk in your gas tank, and that's causing a problem, or your exhaust, or things fall back in a domino effect. You knock one, hit another, and hit another, and hit another. Your system has to work properly from beginning to end in order for something to work properly. And that's pretty much not possible with any human being, whether they're taking pharmaceuticals or whether they're taking, supplemental things. Everybody these days, due to chemicals in food and lack of nutrients and GMO and the whole 9 yards, is going, and other effects like external things like, you know, uh, chemical exposure, work things at work, like mechanics get exposed to like a lot of chemicals, toxic metals. Um, the food industries have different. Everybody has a different, receives a different thing, that they're exposed to, and even like some of the air conditioning things from people in offices are quite toxic to them. So you think you're not getting exposed, but there is no escape from it. And all of these factors, you know, you had a car accident several years ago, or an illness, or whatever, and everything throws the body here and there, and you just, COVID was something, the vaccines or something. I can't have injections from a lot of stuff because I'm allergic to the carriers, whether it's vitamin B12 or a vaccine or something else. I never had the flu. The doctor snuck and she gave me the flu vaccine against my wishes. She combined it with another vaccine that I did agree to, and she snuck it in there. I was very upset, but I had the flu so bad after that, like I never, I never had it. Um, I didn't get vaccinated for mumps and rubella, or chickenpox and rubella when I was a kid. We didn't have chickenpox vaccine back then, but I got both at the same time. And then I was around 4.5, and then in my early 30s, or actually it was my late 20s, I went for for a work-related, had to have vaccines for, and the doctor said, you don't need a rubella. Your rubella is still really great. You need to come back in about 10 years for a rubella shot. I'm not giving you one because your titer is great. And because I told him I had the actual disease at 5. So our bodies can fight for us, and some things that we think we need help with can actually harm us. But just an example, you could get your titers done before you actually get vaccines if you have troubles with vaccines or carriers of medications and things like that, because they have to put your medicine in a carrier to inject it into you, and people can have trouble with the carriers, and think that it's the vaccine part of it, but it might not be. So anyway, I hope this video was insightful. I hope that it helps with your questions about NAC and glycine or Gly-NAC. My experience is not going to be everybody else's experience, and some people choose, like I chose, to try these supplements myself without any direction. I don't have money that I can afford a naturalist doctor, so you know, I I don't I wasn't able to see my regular doctor for some time for transportation issues, and I needed help right away, and I addressed my needs. But for your own sake, you really probably ought to go get some help doing it if you can. These things, that the NAC and the Gly-NAC, are over the counter. People are free to use them at their own discretion. So that's what I telling you to do, is don't go by what I say. I'm not recommending people either take it or take much of it. I'm telling you what I experienced, and therefore, I disclaim any responsibilities for what you experience if you decide to try it, or decide to stop using it. But so that's just, no two people are alike, and that's why I said all through this video, you need to consider what you yourself have been through, and consider that things aren't going to affect you the way that videos, many videos on YouTube are saying it will. Look at the comments, look at the people. That's what I did, and I saw a lot of people having an adverse effect from taking it. I really believe that those who were taking it should have tried going down on it, like down the dose, reduce their dose, because um, obviously, if something's making you feel worse, you need to take less of it or stop taking it altogether. And that has become my journey. I have decided that these things are good on an as needed basis for me. I'm not able to benefit from them long term, so I can probably take them for a week and get myself feeling better, and then just once in a while, take them when I feel like I'm getting low on it. Just like any supplement I take, I take them uh, when I feel like I'm getting low. Because if I stay on things, they tend to accumulate in my body. Calcium will give me stones. Even protein will make me have kidney issues, and I'm going pee all day and night with my body trying to clean out excess protein. So it's just, can't even eat meat anymore because the body changed. Things I used to be able to do after menopause, I can no longer do. I can no longer eat like that. I can no longer feel like that. And I'm in a new body, postmenopausal. Yep, that's what it is. I'm in a new, foreign body like I've never lived in before, and I'm trying really hard to learn to live in it because I don't. Boy, that's a hard transition, and that there's animals that die from it. They can't transition very well, so you just have to listen to your body is what I'm recommending. Really, really listen to it, and listen to it in the way of your history. By what sort of traumas have you had, what sort of reactions have you had, and take all of those things from childhood up into account and make them part of your consideration on everything you try or everything you take, everything you do, the way you feel. Maybe helps you not to be so upset when you can't feel happy because, yeah, you might have had too many TBIs. Illnesses can be a TBI too, and a lot of people don't know that. Or if you've had a TBI or a few of them or many of them, an illness can be just as bad as another one for you because your brain is already, compromised. So that's it. Just do the best you can. Consult your doctor as much as possible. I've consulted doctors and they're extremely unhelpful. They are not educated on things like Gly-NAC. Um, they don't know, and they don't try to help you either. They just want to give you pharma pills. That's what they are. A lot of times, they don't even physically give you an exam. They're completely hands off these days. I don't really consider them doctors in comparison to old school doctors who would have you lie down and do your abdominal exam and lift your legs and test your reflexes and look in your eyes with the light and your ears with the stethoscope, with the ear uh, tool, and then check your breathing. A lot of doctors cheat on that. They have like take a deep breath and another breath and another breath, and they're not really listening. They're not hearing and they're not listening. Where where doctors have gone slower on that, they have actually heard my pneumonia at one time. and a couple doctors before that weren't hearing the pneumonia. They're just going too fast. But that's even old schoolers with the stethoscope. But nowadays they don't even want to listen to your heart. They send you off to a specialist. That's all they do is write scripts for prescriptions and specialists. If you've got a doctor like that, you need to keep searching for a better doctor. But that's it. That's enough for this video. I hope that it's been helpful, and that's all I have to say on this. Um, I hope that you find things that work for you, and learn how to use them the way that they can be used, because that's something we have to accept. We can't expect things that we've been told about how some things work to be the way it is for us, because a lot of times those people take something short term and they're like, oh yeah, it's like reviews on products. You know, they get it out of the package, they look at it, they hold it in their hands for 5 minutes, and then they write their review. And no, you need to actually use the dang thing for a couple of months before you make, or at least a few months before you make a review. You know, um, there's a lot of products I haven't made reviews on because I'm still making sure they work properly and they last, you know, and Gly-NAC was one of them. So, uh, I guess, and like I said, that's it. So, thank you for listening. I hope that it helped you, and we'll see you in another video.